What is his play tonight? Lay out his strategy. What will he do in his final moment to make a closing argument?
Well, Bill, he'll do a lot of things that John just mentioned in his report, which is remind people who the insider is and who the outsider is. And what does it mean to be an insider in Washington, D.C., who's been there literally for decades? It means that you own part of the failed policies, the $19 trillion in debt, the fact that people believe that the system is corrupt and rigged for moneyed friends, for special interests, in the case of the State Department, used as a concierge for foreign governments who wanted to give money to the Clinton Foundation. Hillary Clinton must own all of those problems. The other thing that he'll do, I believe, is according to the topics laid out, is show just how different just show how different Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are when it comes to who they would put on the United States Supreme Court. And my message to the Never-Trumpers who remain out there, the shards of the Never-Trumpers, are if you want to recast the United States Supreme Court in the likeness of Hillary Clinton, then go ahead and don't vote for Donald Trump. You're also going to hear him prosecute the case against her record as Secretary of State because it's not a pretty one. She owns the Russian reset. She owns Syria, Libya, Benghazi. What is our policy in the Middle East? Does Israel feel safer? So there's a great deal of that. And then, of course, I think this government reform, people may say, oh, that's so boring, government reform. That's exactly how Donald Trump got to this point, which is basically saying somebody's got to go to Washington, just turn the tables upside down. Start with a forensic accounting. Why do we waste so much money as a nation? Why are people in poverty? Why do people not have health insurance? And yet we have 5 people doing the job of 1 person in Washington, D.C. We waste so much money.
Good questions, and I think it goes to this drain the swamp theme, which I think is interesting, that he's spent a lot of time focusing on that in the last 24 hours. One other thing that I thought was very interesting that he just said in the comments that we played, Kellyanne, was, whatever you think about me, okay? Now, there's obviously been so much about Donald Trump in this campaign. He's had a rough few weeks, especially with the stories that have come out about women. But I think when he says, whatever you think about me, are we going to see him tonight take the focus off him and try to put it back on some of these other issues?
Mission number 1 for me, because I think if this election is a referendum on Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump wins. And it should be a referendum on Hillary Clinton because essentially voters always have the same decision, Martha, which is, do I want more of the same or to go in a new and different direction? And in the Fox News polling, 75% of Americans want to go in a new and different direction. Donald Trump owns that mantle of change. He's the disruptor. She's more of the same. So it's a very important decision for people to make. Are they really going to put their vote where their hearts are, where they tell pollsters, I just had enough? And the fact is, most of the questions Donald Trump has gotten in these debates have been about him. Most of the points that Hillary Clinton has raised have been about Donald Trump. Her entire campaign is about Donald Trump. If you can tell me the last time you heard her talk about a positive policy prescription or talk about her vision or be aspirational, uplifting, even her tens of millions of dollars of ads are negative against Donald Trump. She essentially, ladies and gentlemen, you're casting a vote for Hillary Clinton based on a campaign against Donald Trump. So if he can put the focus back on her, and I know Fox News will put the focus on both of them.
There is a sense that both have to lay out the vision, and that has been woefully absent so far in this campaign, and I think many people would agree with that. We were told through Mike Emanuel that she flew in late last night and went through another debate prep here in Las Vegas. What has Donald Trump done specifically to prep himself for this one? We
were in debate prep last night. We just don't go tell the media. Now we're doing X.
So you were?
Yes, we were in debate prep here in Las Vegas last night. And he's been preparing for quite a while for these debates. He's very engaged. He likes the format. He really likes bringing the case directly to the people, especially, Bill, because we just know the statistics. We don't feel sorry for ourselves at all, but the statistics are very simple, that we just can't get a fair shake in most of the mainstream media. You see all these reports now, 96% of contributions from working journalists went to Hillary Clinton, 4% to Donald Trump. You see all this collusion and conspiracy that's been released through FOIA requests and through the recent WikiLeaks revelations. So we already know that we're up against an avalanche of anti-Trump media. Fine, but that means opportunities like a presidential debate allow him to bring that case directly through the silence or through the noise and to the people. So we're excited.
I mean, he definitely will get a question based on what happened with the women and these stories that have come out. What is your strategy for dealing with that? Because when you look at all the other networks, as you say, that's all they're talking about. And there are numbers that need to be fixed when you look at how he's doing with women, especially independent women. How is he going to do that?
Well, I think he'll say tonight, Martha, what he has said for the last week or so, which is all of these stories are lies and fabrication. His wife went on your network and said the same thing. She believes her husband. She thinks people are seeking fame or fortune, or they're there for political purposes. The timing is very coincidental, or not. And that he just says they're all made up, and he has witnesses. A lot of these have been debunked already through witnesses. And, you know, the merits of that aside, the important point for him to do here tonight is to answer that question as he's been answering it and go right to the problems with Hillary Clinton, why she's unfit to be president of the United States. 600 times Ambassador Chris Stevens and others asked for more security in Benghazi, and he wound up dead, as did 3 others. She owns the hot spots around the globe. She's never signed the front of a paycheck. She has never created a single job. She and her husband went from being dead broke to being quarter billionaires. God bless them. I'm a capitalist. This is the United States of America. But people ought to scrutinize how they did that. They're selling access. They're selling favors. They're giving speeches to Wall Street, and now we see some of those transcripts where Hillary Clinton is being dishonest. You have to be one person in public and another person in private.
That's his job, to make that case.
Yes.
Last night you said, I think we're going to win because people love a comeback story. Is that how you see this election today?
Well, there are a lot of other details that go into that winning formula. I do think we're the underdog.
The answer is suggesting that you're behind and you have...
Oh, of course.
You have to make
yes,
up time.
I'm a very honest broker.
Do you see it as a comeback at the moment?
It's a comeback, and he's done it before several times in this campaign. If you go back and think of all the individual stories that people covered, Bill and Martha, whether it was in the primary or certainly as the nominee, he's done, he's finished. This is the one that will sink him. He ought to just get off the ticket. And the people are always there standing behind him. These crowds never dissipate. The enthusiasm and the momentum is his, not hers. And the other thing is, I talk an awful lot. He talks about Brexit. I've always talked about the undercover Trump voter. It's not that it's 15%, but if it's 1, 2, 3% here and there, if people really feel like they can bet on a winner, they'll go for him. The other thing is, Hillary Clinton just has not been able to put him away. What is her problem already? Why does she have a current First Lady and President more popular than she'll ever be, campaigning for her?
That's why they vote.
Another former president who just happens to be her husband, too, very popular, campaigning for her. She has endless amounts of money, endless amounts of media help, and she's running on experience, and yet she just can't get there. We are competing. We're either ahead or within the margin of error in about 4 or 5 states that Mitt Romney and John McCain both lost.